Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Shantia here. So today we are doing a review for the Where Are They Now reunion for Married at First Sight, season 13. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and like. Also hit that bell notification so that you see when my videos come up and you can watch them right away. I would love it if you comment down below and share in the discussion. My channel is dedicated to helping women live in a way that feels the most natural to them. That is why I do these videos. I'm also fascinated by the psychology of humans, and that's why I watch this show. That's why I do these reviews. So I'm going to be doing a review for the Where Are They Now, but I'm also going to be sharing the update on the drama that's been happening with the Married at First Sight cast, especially the Zack and Belle situation going on, particularly Zack's thing going on. I was going to do a deep dive into Mirla and Gil's relationship. I've decided as of now I'm not going to do that because I feel like Gil and Mirla have moved on, and I especially saw that when I watched part of Gil's live from Instagram, and therefore there's no reason to put that additional attention on the relationship. I think they for the most part understand why they weren't compatible, and to me, as long as they see it, that's really all that matters. Right, so I'm gonna do a review for all of the cast members, but I'm gonna get into the nitty-gritty, and we're gonna start with Bao and Zack. Starting with Zack. Now, I thought it was really concerning that Zack, he asked Bao out so easily, because I'm like, out of all the women in Houston, right? All the women in Texas, period. All the women in Houston, he asked Bao out. And I just thought that was really concerning because I'm just like, really, Zack? You just jump on the first thing, and it really is the case. From all the evidence that's shown up on the internet and the fact that Bao and Zack unfollowed each other, I think that's kind of proven the point that he hasn't been faithful, right? He hasn't been consistent. There's been multiple women who have come forward, and apparently he has a type for Latino women. So he's been living a double life, basically. Now, I feel like Zack taking this action has just kind of confirmed a lot of what I've said before about his immaturity, not being ready for marriage, rushing into things, inconsistency. He doesn't know himself. He hasn't grounded himself. He needs to do therapy, journaling. He needs to do a lot of soul searching. I thought it was concerning that he asked her out so fast because, you know, out of all the women, why ask Bao out? And then also, in addition to that, so soon. You know, he just seems to have like a checklist in his head that he needs to check off. And now it kind of makes a little bit more sense. The reason why he feels the need to rush into marriage and rush into this presentation of him being this perfect version is probably because there's a very flawed and broken version of himself existing underneath the surface. I think people can be both. I think people can be victims of really difficult circumstances and go out there running mad. People have called him a manipulator. For sure, he's been deceptive, and no person deserves that, but really he's a young, lost man, and every person deserves a second chance. You know, I don't come on this channel to talk about why people are flawed and why we should beat down on them. Every single person on the show is a human being, and if I am going to talk about them, I'm going to talk about the good things too, because if I were to meet them up in the street, I want to know that I saw all parts of them. I didn't just see what I wanted to see. So I think Zack has some good qualities, but obviously, just like a lot of men and broken men who run to sex to solve their problems, someone said it, self-medicate, he hasn't been resolving his issues. And it's very clear because he runs into situations. He rushes into situations as opposed to really delving into the issue at hand. Like, what is the true issue, Zack? And with him having his confusion, this confusing mind where his thoughts run too quickly, yeah, if you're letting your thoughts run too quickly, you're not taking the time to slow down and understand who it is you are. It's going to be easy for you to live this double life and think that it's okay. He's obviously an attractive young guy, and with him having insecurity issues and being bullied in the past, it's not very uncommon for men to want to be in sexual relationships or intimate relationships with women so that they can feel worthy or empowered or feel like they are the man or feel like they are attractive. He's trying to make up for those insecurities. That's all he's showing. All it revealed is that he's a very insecure young man. To me, to be in this world, 27 years old, online, you have to be careful. That is why I'm not on here all the time talking about people's business, because my mind, what I think about, ultimately influences how I see myself. And I'd have to imagine that he's under a lot of pressure right now because he's living that double life. And it's what he does in response to this crisis that's going to show if he has what it takes. but he has to do the healing on his own. Going back to like the surface things, when Zack asked Bao on a date, he said within 2 to 3, on date 2 or 3, he considers them exclusive. That's what he told her. So I think it's been going on the internet that he told her they weren't going to be exclusive, but he said that he was expecting it would be exclusive on his side. And in the Where Are They Now reunion, she confirmed it. She said, yeah, it would be exclusive for me. There's really nothing else to say. I hope he does his healing and he does his work. So let's just go ahead and move on to Bao. So Bao, you know, part of me wants to like cheer her on. I'm just like, girl, go on that date, look cute, all that stuff. But I felt like she definitely was way too eager to say yes to Zack. He would not be the first person. If I was going to date someone, I would not be dating a fellow cast member, because my thing is the girl code, right? You knew Michaela. I'm sure you were closer with Zack at that point. To me, I would have okayed that with Michaela. I would have okayed that with her because I would have thought like, I developed a bond with her. She said that she has this issue of being friends with women. So maybe that's because in some situations she will put herself first, or she's not as considerate as she wants people to perceive her to be. She's not as considerate. She's a little bit more particular about what she wants or what she likes. I think in a way she wanted to just feel good. That's why she said yes. She wanted to feel good. Some attracted young guy tells her she's attractive, he wants to take her out, and from what she knows of the data that he has interest in marriage, it's like delusional. He's not the person. Like, if you really pay attention, she doesn't read the signs well. She doesn't read the signs well. She doesn't really understand her worth. She doesn't know what to look for. To me, when she's saying yes to Zack, when she's trying so hard to make things work with Johnny, she doesn't really know what to look for in a partner. And therefore, she's had this consistency of attracting people who are just not ready to settle down in those partnerships with her. She said that Johnny was a man-child, but I would most definitely not call, even prior to learning about his infidelity, I would not call Zack a man. He's a male. He is a male. So that's kind of like the irony is, yes, Johnny was very immature, like elementary, immature, like emotionally childlike, but Zack to me feels a little bit older, but he's not a man. It's more like adolescence age, or like 17. Emotionally, he's just still back in that. So Bao was having that conversation with her friend. She was saying, I deserve to do good. I deserve better. Yes, you deserve better. But now I'm thinking, girl, you really need to think about what it is that has consistently not been working in your relationships, because, you know, why are you partnering with people where things just don't work? I heard he was in her pictures. I heard, you know, he was in her videos. So she really was, she's a committist for sure. She'll commit, but I think apparently her picker isn't the best. Her perception and her sense of judgment when it comes to people is off. My thing is, you tend to attract what you are. So if you have sort of an immature mindset yourself, or you're a little bit emotionally stunted in some ways, or you have to do more growth in some areas, or healing or acknowledgement, then you're going to attract people who aren't ready. I didn't care for the fact that Bao ignored Johnny. She can come off, again, just like Michaela, very articulate, very mature way of understanding things, but when I'm watching you ignore this man who, you know, you shared this experience with, like you're in high school or something, I know you don't have the emotional maturity either, in a sense. When her and Zack were having that conversation about the exclusivity, she said, I would be exclusive with you. My recommendation to every single woman, until you not even find someone, until he shows that he wants you to be he displays, he asks, he professes that he wants you to be his forever person. I'm not talking about exclusive. I'm talking about committed. If that's what you're looking for, unless you're looking for a casual relationship, but if you're looking for something more, don't settle for exclusivity. That's not a status. So that's my thing with Bao. Girl, you give in too easy to this idea of exclusivity. It doesn't really work that well if you're looking for a long-term commitment or that partner. I know she's gotten proposals before, but my recommendation is don't admit or try to give in too easy to exclusivity. Understand that your worth as a woman is far more valuable, and that someone should be showing, displaying, demonstrating their commitment to you. Dating is not that demonstration. Dating is where you get to know someone. The commitment, the actual commitment, is having those discussions of like, okay, what is this long term? And then them showing you that they're interested in inviting you and making you a permanent person in their life. So that's just my thing about Val. You know, she's gone through it a lot with Johnny and with Zack, and I just hope that she handles it better. But you know, the reason why I don't ever truly feel sorry for someone is because you have the power to change it, but you're also the one who's attracting these the not so great people in your life, which is great because now you can filter out. Now you can learn, okay, this is how I can choose a partner. So those dysfunctional partnerships are going to continue to come into your life until you've decided and seen for yourself what it is your worth is, and you know exactly what to look for and how to go about looking for it. Next, let's go ahead and talk about Michaela. So Michaela is on the up and up. She's trying to level up her life. She's doing therapy, kickboxing, she bought a townhouse, and so she's just trying to create a better life for herself. I think what Michaela has always done really great is I think she has no problem taking action and doing what she needs to do to create a beautiful life for herself. With her reaction on the internet and talking about certain diagnosis, I don't know the specifics. I think she talked about, I don't know if like a high functioning anxiety is one thing that she has, which I can totally see that. I actually kind of get that vibe from her. With her having that high function anxiety, and I'm glad that she can see and acknowledge and do all those things, which is great. However, you know, again, she said that she keeps expecting an apology from Zack. I'm like, girl, if you're expecting an apology from someone, you may be waiting for the rest of your life. So my thing is never to wait for an apology. That's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is for you. It's not for the person. So if you can forgive and move on, you can move on for your life. You can let it go, heal it. That's it. But waiting for an apology to me is just absolutely pointless. You know, once I let go, that's usually when people tend to they ask for forgiveness, is when I've already forgiven the situation. They're like, okay, I want to apologize. I like how she said that the kickboxing or the physical activity was helping her to focus her energy and respond better, or react better, but my word choice is respond. We don't want to let our body take control of our actions and just react. We want to respond to life. And so I think she's on the right track. The first stage of change is also, it's always the conscious acknowledgement of what it is you need to change. So once you know how to articulate, then now you know what actions to take. And once you put those actions into practice, make them consistent, that's when the change happens. So I feel like, you know, with Michaela being young and whatnot, well, she's not that young. She gives off a very youthful vibe. She's young. I keep thinking her and Zack are the same age. But with Michaela being young, sometimes I think she wants to, just like young people tend to do, we just want to rush over into the positive aspect of life and be like, oh, I'm good, I'm healed, I'm great, everything's just amazing. I'm like, but it takes time. It literally takes years to transform that kind of inner work and that healing. That takes years to do. I don't want to put that on people for it to take long. Maybe it'll take you a few months, but it takes a while. And especially it depends on how deeply embedded it is into your consciousness. That will determine how long your healing takes, how conscious you are, how self-aware you are of what needs to happen. So I wish the best for Michaela, wish the best for Belle, wish the best for Zack. Moving on to, let's go ahead and talk about Ryan. So Ryan went on a date. Now he has no problem with the dating situation. Apparently that's his type, so okay. Again, he's kind of fixed on his type, and according to what I've heard from some people, or a lot of people, is that most people don't marry their types, right? I think that's what I've heard, is that most people don't marry their types. And I always thought that people generally marry their types, because whenever I hear someone talk about the first person they've ever had a crush on, and the people they've tended to have a crush on, eventually they end up marrying someone within that type bracket. So I don't know how true that is, that type thing. Because I feel like for men, the type thing is like the attraction. Tall, brunette, ebony skin, and short, flowy hair. I don't know. I feel like the initial type is usually obvious, but you know, I'm gonna get into this when I talk about Gil, but I think the one thing, this is what helps people to fall in love, and this is what helps a lot of men to fall in love, is it's the heart. They always say the same thing. She has a good heart. And they're like, once I knew she had a good heart, I could trust her with mine. I don't know what Ryan is looking for. He was very awkward on his sushi date. He said that she was more his type, honestly. Brett, which by the way, I didn't have anything down for Brett. What the heck? Brett, to me, is just gorgeous. You know, she's very attractive. So, I don't know. Neither of them were each other's type. All right, so be it. I thought he was kind of awkward, and I think when it comes to Ryan, I still go with my previous thing. Is like there's still some soul searching he needs to do. I feel like he kind of that nervousness that comes up to me is like a sign of like I don't quite know myself as a person. You know, he wasn't really coming off that confident, but he was coming off more mature than his date. So I think one of the things his date said, I think her name is Maggie. One of the things that she said was that she doesn't know the specifics of what she wants. And I'm like, wait a second, this guy's looking for marriage and you don't know the specifics of what you want. To me, that's not a good sign. She said that she hadn't stopped to think about the specifics of what she wants. So she's not looking for marriage. He's trying to date someone who's not on the same page with him. Now, I don't know, maybe he's so focused on the attraction, but this is kind of my thing, is like probably my criticism again towards men and what they're looking for. Maybe the reason why you're not finding that forever person is because you're looking for it in someone who isn't exemplifying, or they're not wanting what you want. You know, you're so focused on the attraction that you're forgetting like the important pieces. So I'm surprised she flew all the way there to have a date with him, and he probably paid for it, but she flew all the way there to date him, and they hadn't had that conversation before, or that was weird to me because he's on a show called Married at First Sight. She clearly knows that he was on that show called Married at First Sight. And they had that conversation about marriage, but she doesn't know. I'm just like, that's not a good sign. And to me, that's also not a good sign that he has a good picker. You know, he doesn't quite know what to look for in a partner. Those should be obvious things. Like, I want marriage, that should be obvious. She should have the maturity to be able to say that. She should be at the emotionally mature place where she's like, I want marriage too. So I don't know if he's just been dating people who are not interested in marriage, but that might be a reflection of who he is. He said that he wants someone who's active, who doesn't have all these fears and insecurities. I have no problem with him naming those things. I think that was most definitely one obvious place where him and Brett were incompatible, and therefore issues continued to show up. All right, so that's Ryan. I wish the best for him. He needs to... The thing is, to me, if you become more secure in who you are, you're gonna naturally attract people who are there too. So I'm like, if he secures himself, becomes more confident as a person, I think he should work with a coach, or like a dating coach or relationship coach or someone like that who could help him just kind of like harness that ability within him, because he's not quite confident. It's just what I'm gonna say. He's not quite confident. Okay, so moving on to Brett. Brett is moving on. She went with Mirla to buy a dog. She said she's not ready to get a dog because she's still grieving and letting go. I think Brett is gonna be fine. Really, there wasn't much to say about her other than that. I just hope she watches for that reaction sometimes she might have and appeared to have in the show to close off. So long as she watches that, keeps herself open, then I think she'll be fine. Moving on to Mirla. So Mirla went and she got a dog. I thought that was so funny. Now, out of everyone on this show, she just looks so happy. That's why I felt like she made the right decision. You know, a lot of people have some criticism about Mirla, but I'm like, when someone's happy, they're happy. No person can take that away from you. When you're secure in yourself, in your decisions, the things that you think and feel about yourself, and the decisions you make in your life, then it brings you a lot of happiness. I feel like Mirla knows what makes her happy. In the comment section, I was talking about with one of the viewers that she has vanity for sure. I mean, with all those pictures of herself, I think vanity is one of her issues. However, I wouldn't say that she's incredibly, totally selfish. You know, when she said, oh, I'm going to drive, she's like, I really want everyone to be at this get together. I want you guys to be there. I want you to be there. She likes hanging out with her friends. And she even said, hey, I'm going to drive Rachel and Jose. I'll drive if you want to come. Like, she's not totally selfish. She's maybe a little bit self-absorbed sometimes into her own ideas, but her and Gil were not going to work out one way or another. She knew that. She called that out. And why did he not know that? That's my thing. Is like, why did he not know that? And he actually talked about that in his live. When I get to him, I'll get more into depth about that. She has something. You know, Gil didn't, he said he fell in love with her. Gil didn't just fall in love with her for nothing. So you can say she's selfish and all of these things, but ultimately it's the people who are like around her all the time. And the fact that she has all these people who are around her, that is evidence that she does have good qualities that attract people to her. So that's really all there is to say. She's finding her happiness, she's getting her dog, she's doing what makes her feel good in life. The experts, and some people got on the experts about this comment, or about Pastor's Cow comment about saying that she wasn't ready for marriage. That's for her to decide. I think she has some good qualities that are going to come into a marriage, that can come into a marriage, but she also has some things that are working against her too. From helping her find that and attract that and create that harmony in a relationship. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to Johnny. So apparently Johnny is seeing a therapist, and he's also talking to Sarah. Is Sarah the one? So I thought I saw her wearing a ring, and when I watched it the first time, and the second time I wasn't paying attention, so I didn't want to rewind and watch it again. Him and Sarah talking about Bao was just not, that ain't cute. That is so not cute. I was thinking that Sarah was perhaps married and that's why they weren't dating. But the fact that Johnny can go behind, or whatever, talk about Bao like that with Sarah, and I'm just like, it's high school. It's just so unattractive to see in a partner. Anytime someone talks ill about their ex, to me, that's a really bad sign. And that's what I liked about Mirla and Gil. They did not talk any of that about each other. Like, Gil was just like, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. And the thing is, if you're talking about your ex, of course, with the Married at First Sight and the arranged marriage, it's a little bit different. But when you're talking about your ex, that says a lot about who you are. You know, how you don't let go of things. And I don't think Johnny lets go of things. Lets go of things. When they were at the get-together, Johnny, as soon as he saw Bao and she ignored him, he's just like, I have to go. She's ruining everything for me. She just ruins everything for me. I'm just like, Johnny, you have no power then. You're a disempowered man. Sorry, male. You're a disempowered male. If every time you're around someone, they trigger you. If you get triggered every time you're around someone, then that says more about the lack of foundation for you or solidarity in you than it does about them. So, unfortunately, Bao will always be the fault of all of Johnny's issues in his life. Like, I feel like Johnny would burn some popcorn and he'll be like, it's Bao's fault. So he'll always find a reason to blame Bao. So apparently he's seeking therapy. Definitely need to continue on that, because the more you seek therapy, but again, like I said in my previous video, what you get out of therapy is what you put into it. So until he puts in that work, he won't really be able to see what he needs to work on. If you're easily triggered, that means you have some negative aspects or whatever, negativity just like bubbling under the surface within you, waiting to come out. That's your thing that you need to work on. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about Gil. By the time they're doing the Where Are They Now, Gil is attending paramedic school. He's trying to do better for himself. He grows a beard. He has a meeting with a therapist, and in the live he talked about how he was continuing to do therapy and love therapy, because he's doing it right. During his conversation with his therapist, he was still wearing his wedding ring, and you know, I'm sure all the women are just like, oh my god, he's wearing his wedding ring. He was wearing his wedding ring, and his therapist told him, you know, what if you take it off, right? Because he said that the wedding ring to him represented fighting, you know, fighting for something. I just thought it was really interesting. He was very attached to his relationship with Mirla. He was very attached to the idea of marriage. He wanted to be the role model. He wanted to be the alpha. And I got that. I picked up on that. And that's so crazy that he said that in his live. I was like, he just gives me alpha energy. Like, he's going to be the head of the table. He has some great leadership qualities. And Mirla gave me that vibe too. Like, she gives me alpha woman. And he said that about her too. It takes time. You know, people grieve at their own rate. I'm not going to get on Mirla's case about getting over it quicker. To me, I'm like, if you Do what makes you happy. Just focus on that, because there are always going to be people in the world who have opinions about your life. I'm like, you need to be focused on your thing, what makes you happy. And to be honest, I don't really like focusing on like getting into the negativity or even in that energy of talking about people or feeling that way towards people, because I'm like, if someone does something I don't like, I don't have any control over it. So I'm just gonna be like, I don't like it. This is what I think they can do better, and then just move on. Gil talked about how he was disappointed and how he, I think he has a way of maybe, I said this about Mirla and Gil. I think his philosophy on life is maybe holding on and maybe grounding more in the past. Sometimes it feels like, okay, this makes me humble, right? This makes me know who I am. And I really get the sense from that. He is a bit more direct in his approach. His energy is very direct. It's very steady. However, I think he does have a way of holding on to the past too much. It's like we want to open our minds to seeing the world in a different light. Now, I think he absolutely has the ability to do this. And I think when he chooses a partner in the future, I think that's going to be the person for him. And I think this is because he was in that partnership with Mirla. He was willing to do all that work. He's still getting to know himself. He said in his live that he is still taking a break from dating, which I think is great. I think out of all the men, a steady head on his shoulders, I think he'll figure it out. And I think he'll know moving forward exactly what to look for in a partner. He said he's attracted to ambitious women, but most definitely attracts someone who's going to open his mind a little bit more, because I think his mind is a little bit closed off. And this is, in my opinion, very common of men to be a little bit closed-minded about certain ideas, because they tend to be more structured, fixed energy. That's just a part of their masculine energy. But I think if he partners with someone and chooses someone who will help him open up to like his idea of money, for example, because that's just the most obvious one that they talked about, but just open up to not being so fixed, which, by the way, he said he was a Taurus, and Taurus are fixed. They are fixed energy. If he can help get with someone who opens his mind to seeing life in a different light or in a more expansive way, I think that person will help him to thrive even more. So it's really, there is all to say. This idea, this theme, Mirla didn't really communicate her emotions to him. He was totally blindsided. And I'm just going to say it again. Men are not mind readers. I don't care if you think they're your soulmate, your divine counterpart. He cannot read your mind. He cannot read your mind. If you say things are good, he thinks things are good. So you need to communicate to your partner no matter what. Because I've seen people be in the most amazing relationships and still they do not communicate their desires. And their husband ends up finding later when it's too late. Now you have to backtrack and do all of this extra work to overcome the obstacles or the blockages that you just created for your partnership. The vibe that I got from Gil during his live is that he is let go. I loved what he said about Mirla. He said that what made him fall in love with her, even though one of his deal breakers was that negativity, that negative energy, or the pessimism. So that's what he said. That was one of his deal breakers. He also said that she had a good heart. And I've always heard that. I heard it from my dad. I've heard it from my brother. I've heard it from like every guy ever. Like, that is the one thing that they're looking for in the partner. She has a good heart. That's it. That's when he fell in love with her. So by the end of the day, they want the fairy tale. They want the romance. They want someone who brings their heart alive by them seeing that they have one, by them connecting to their heart, the other person's heart, their partner's heart. That is just beautiful to hear. So I wish the best for everyone. I think that's all I have to say about this cast thus far. And unless there's any kind of updates, I think I'm gonna maybe do a review once the new season comes out. I do still like the show, but undoubtedly it's just been very much full of drama. The last few seasons have been so full of drama and dysfunction. The people on the show are seeming less and less humble and just a lot more, I don't know. I feel like, so I've heard that they've recruited people from Instagram before. And my thing is, please stop doing that. Like, find normal people at dating agencies or something. Like, please stop looking for these people on Instagram, because gosh, I'm not a big fan of Instagram in that sense. I'm an artist. I do post my work there if you want to check it out. My link is down below, even though I haven't really been posting lately. But the one thing I do not post on Instagram as of yet, I could always change my mind, but one thing I don't post is my personal life, because I think it's so easy to get into the habit of putting your life in these perfect squares and trying to paint this perfect picture of who you are. I know people who post, you know, pictures of their life, and behind the scenes, they're going through a lot. So I do not envy anyone who posts pretty pictures, because you have no idea what that person is going through behind the scenes. Most people who tend to post those pretty pictures of their life, they tend to be going through the most. So that's just been my experience of it. They're going through a lot. So that's why I never got into the habit of posting my life on Instagram, because I'm living my life. I hope they stop recruiting people off of Instagram and just find people, normal people, through the agency, through a dating agency. These people who are on Instagram and are on social media trying to post this perfect life, they have a tendency to be the ones who haven't actually done the work. And I'm talking about the inner work that needs to be done in order to have a happy, healthy partnership, especially for a Married at First Sight, where you have an arranged marriage. It's a lot of pressure. I think it was Tammy Talks. Is it Tammy Tattles and Tom? Are these two different people? But someone to talk about on her YouTube channel who I like to watch, you know, should the experts like just go away because they're not helping? Production is just putting the matches together anyways. My thing is that they absolutely need the experts, because they take the experts' advice seriously. You can see it in their eyes. They need the experts because it takes a village to have this successful arranged marriage. In traditional arranged marriages in different cultures, the families choose the person, and the families choose the person based off of a certain list of values that match up and is great for their daughter or their son or whatever. For Married at First Sight, they should be making sure to utilize as much as they can with intellect, choosing people who really match on the values and who are very compatible with one another. I think some of the matches have been kind of shady. Like Mirla and Gil, to me, like as soon as we saw them, we were just like, I don't understand why these two people are together. Or when they put, I don't even remember his name, it was like Ryan and Virginia? Is that what the pairing was called? I think it was Ryan and Virginia. But when they paired them together, I was just like, he wanted like this, I think a traditional woman. He wanted like a traditional woman who's like gonna be home and just be there whenever he would come back home from work. And she wanted to like go out and have fun. And what was her other thing? You know, I don't even remember. But some of the pairings from the past few seasons have been kind of shady. So maybe they're just running out of people to match, and that's why they're pairing them the way that they are. But I think they just need to do a lot better with that, because having had the relationship experience with counseling people and helping people, I'm hoping that they understand why it's so important to match people with their values and pair people whose strengths complement each other. When their values are different, it's hard to make it work. I might surprise you and do a deep dive for some of the couples. I think for the most part, I kind of want to just put this season to rest with all the drama and everything. Just put it to rest, because I'm talking about the same repetitive issues and the same work that needs to be done for them to better themselves. So I don't think there's anything else that needs to be talked about. So thank you guys so much for watching my review of Married at First Sight. Make sure you tune in, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you'll be here when I upload for the next review. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or evening. Bye. Also, I would love to add in, whether it's a face, a furry face, or a favorite place, my artworks are treasured keepsakes, unique and tailored to your most treasured memories. I do portrait commissions that are gifted from and created with heart. So go ahead and check out my website. I'll go ahead and link it down below. You guys can see if you're interested in me doing commissions for you. Also, I sell my own fine art, which is a labor of love. My artwork tends to lean towards identity and healing. So if you're interested in checking that out, then go ahead and look at my link down below. All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening. Thank you for watching, and tune in for next week for the next review of Married at First Sight.